Rick leads the combined forces of Alexandria, Hilltop, and the Kingdom into battle against Negan and the Saviors. It is finally all-out war. As we return with the 100th episode of The Walking Dead, Season 8, Episode 1, Mercy. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this review, the return of The Walking Dead. So yes, spoilers. Anyway, alright, so we are back, the big 100th episode. Huge milestone in any series, but with 8 years on with The Walking Dead, it really feels like something special. And in many ways it was. It really kind of took the idea of stepping into this season as looking forward, looking at the big picture. And it's sort of reflective in the sort of time jumpy way that the episode's actually laid out. We of course have Rick at the very beginning with the rest of Hilltop preparing for this big battle. Then we have them getting together, and then we have the big speech ready to get ready for the big battle, the big gathering together. Then, of course, we have reflections of later on, seemingly after the opening salvos here, as well as our glimpse way forward into Old Man Rick. Well, I mean, it looks like Old Man Rick because of the gray and the white in his beard, but it really only looks like a couple of years into the future if we can judge by the difference in size we see with Judith. So I think what we're looking at in this idea, and really reflective upon a lot of the conversations that he has with Maggie, with everybody, all of the moments here, even the bits between Rick and Carl, is really talking about looking to the future, looking for the time after this battle. And when so much of The Walking Dead really has been with surviving now, getting through today, the idea of a future, of something to look forward to, plan for, has really been out of reach. We started getting the first ideas when they found Alexandria, that there was a place where they could actually maybe set roots down. But it's over time, but this is really kind of the moment as we've had that big conflict with the Saviors, as you know, life and death really has come into sharp focus with Negan, and we're seeing how this is very much a fight for survival. The idea that now, after this battle, that there might be a tomorrow, I think is something interesting for the show to dive into, and definitely a new concept for the characters themselves to sort of weigh in their heads. Now, as with any battle, the idea of what is it that you are fighting for is kind of paramount, and really set up with the big pre-battle speech that we have in the back of the pickup truck, the classiest place to give a speech, with Rick, King Ezekiel, and with Maggie. And really, the idea that they are putting there is, well, there's kind of a two-part. One is the encouraging idea, is the fact that we have earned, that we are doing this together, that this is something, that a world that we are fighting for, where people that believe in peace and negotiation and cooperation, this is the type of world there is. That they are making a line between that and the Saviors, the takers, the ones that would oppress, that would take it for themselves. So we do get a nice dichotomy, a nice difference there between, because the language that was sort of used to set things up, I mean, first we have the comment about Jesus, which was great, because they're actually talking to literal Jesus right there, when he said, you're about to see, your whole world's about to open up. And so, but the idea of bringing Jesus in does give it a certain religious aspect to it, that type of motivation. And even when King Ezekiel steps in and he is quoting the bard, and he's talking about Henry V, you know, those who fight and die with me today will be my brothers and my sisters, because Ezekiel's the man. All those give it that sort of classic battle motivation, with a nice tinge of manifest destiny in there. You know, the old American idea of spreading out to the West because the West was destined for the Americas. You know, screw the native population. Okay, not a big wide point of view way back then. But still, those ideas really are touched upon in this speech. That idea of that this is ours by right. This world is. And that's always a really tricky thing, because the same thing could be happening, I think was actually said by Negan to the Saviors. This world is ours. So the idea of the world being yours by right certainly motivates people. But I did like the idea that there was the differentiation, that it's ours by right because we are these type of people. We are looking to expand humanity. We are looking to work together, to take faith with everyone around us. So as motivating the speeches were, using some of those classic religious and manifest destiny ideals, very encouraging, but I do like that they differentiated why that is important and why they deserve this world, why it is their right versus that of Negan and the Saviors. Now, as for the battle, or mostly battle prep, really with this episode, a lot of cool stuff. I love the armored cars. I love the fact that they are just armored on one side. I was wondering why, but of course it was so they could sort of, jigsaw them together into lines and rows right in front of the sanctuary. So that was a cool idea with the plan. Tara, timing out the walker horde. See how fast it was going, how it was moving. I mean, these were all some very, very cool things to see. And I loved the communication between Dwight and Daryl. It's funny because, of course, Daryl doesn't exist in the comics. Dwight kind of had that role as the crossbowman, and now we have the two of them together kind of working as one. I thought was sort of a cool overlay. And Dwight certainly giving the info, pages of where all the guards are, where all the watchers, the lookouts are. Very cool. A lot of wonderful shots in setting that up. I loved especially the one where we have the guy that was on top of the tree and the walker clawing at it, and then suddenly they shoot the lookout, he falls, and the walker's like, yay, finally I get to eat. So I love that bit. It was very cool kind of in the whole setup and how they were putting that together. Some great shots too. The one shot where they parked the truck bomb on the middle of the freeway, and we're timing for the walkers to come, and then they all leave. That long camera hold just as the walkers are slowly moving. And I'm wondering, what are they waiting for? Is somebody supposed to come? Are they going to speed? You're almost waiting it so long. Are you going to hold it until the walkers get all the way up to camera? Because that would take forever. But no, the explosion, which of course draws walkers anymore and starts the kind of, exploding candy path for the walkers to follow right up to the sanctuary. So a lot of very cool shots, a lot of very cool ideas. We, of course, get to see everybody, working together, everyone putting their sides. I even like the line, even in the prep, where the speeches were being given, where they were saying, one was saying to another, I've got your back. And they're like, well, I just met you. It's like, well, we're all just meeting each other. That idea of keeping faith together, they really perpetuated that throughout. Now, the battle itself, I thought was cool. It was one of those where you're constantly expecting something else to happen. The way the progression went, it was cool seeing, Rick and everybody getting the outpost and moving up and everything is all smooth. And then we had Dwight in the beginning and he checks his watch and goes off, and then, 2 sniper shots taking out the guys on top. Very cool, very quick. When they started pulling up to the cars, I'm like, man, that's kind of a lot of time. And then we get to the actual encounter between Negan and Rick, which worked out beautifully. I have to say that for me, I'll even throw it out, that would be, at least for me this week, our Scene of the Week. Which doesn't have a whole lot except character back and forth. But it's the dialogue between Negan and Rick that I thought was so beautifully done. Of course, Negan walking out, oh, I'm sorry, I was in a meeting. Excuse me, I didn't realize that you guys were waiting here. Just completely throwing them off. And then even his confidence throughout the whole speech. I was waiting because we haven't seen anyone else of the saviors. We saw the little group that went out that was talking about, I want some, bang bang and some scream scream and all of that lovely stuff. And they get blown up on the way back, which was also very cool. But we don't see any other saviors. So throughout that scene, I am waiting for the other shoe to fall. And it doesn't. We had the nice back and forth with Negan. I loved him using Gregory, thinking that that's actually going to have any effect on the rest of Hilltop. That seemed to be the card, at least right there, that Negan was playing. Which is surprising that he would think that much of Gregory to be able to pull out. So there was beautiful back and forth. There was a lot of great character Negan and a lot of Rick. And I loved the build-up because we were constantly thinking that something else was going to happen. And then finally there was a point where all I'm thinking is, damn it, why doesn't Rick just shoot Negan? And then he did. So that was cool. Only got down to 7 before he stopped, which was awesome. How he missed Negan, that, is a whole other question. Now, overall, while I was excited about the battle, I did feel a certain disappointment. And that was really in the senses, nothing much happens. I mean, it's like the opening salvo. And from reading the description of next week's episode and such, it seems like that's exactly what this is, that this opening battle, this first day, may be stretched out over several weeks. We'll have one afternoon, one day told over 4 or 5 episodes, perhaps. I don't think they'll do the whole half of the season. But it did, and that was the only thing that sort of let me down, is because once they did their big feint, which was to pull in all of the walkers, which again was cool, because if you notice, they're shooting a lot of ammo, but they're not hitting anybody. They're shooting a lot of walls, they're shooting a lot of glass, they're shooting a lot of metal. They are making noise. But they're not really going after anybody. So that feint, I thought, was very cool. And the idea of using that, bring in the walkers, and then they take off, regroup, and go. Looks like they attacked one of the outposts where the satellite dish was. That was how they get the sanctuary busy and then go off. But because we weren't seeing any of the saviors, all I'm thinking of is, do you know where they are? Are they all heading to Alexandria and the defenses that Michonne and Carl are putting up? Oh, by the way, I have to say, we were talking about looking to the future. Another great comment that we had there with Michonne looking to Carl is saying, I'm going to help you. You were in charge. And that idea of looking for the next generation to start to lead. And while I am have faith in both Michonne and Carl to be effective, I'm really concerned that we haven't seen any of the other saviors. Now, we did actually end on a cliffhanger, but it wasn't at the end of the episode. It's not the Negan one. The whole Father Gabriel going out to try and help Gregory. Look, good on Father Gabriel. He used to be a coward. He's locked people out of the church. He did a lot of running away. Here he steps out to try and save someone. Wrong person to say, though. Of everyone, Gregory is not the person you're going to save, because they'll turn around and stab you in the back, which is exactly what he did, which leaves Father Gabriel to go and find Negan's hiding spot. Yes, I hope he does have his shit and pants on. I'm sure he's doing that right now, actually, as we come to it. But that is not the cliffhanger to me. The cliffhanger was when the smoke bomb went off at the outpost. When Carol says, get down, and the grenade goes off, looked like a smoke bomb. I don't know, they transitioned into the sanctuary scene right off after that. But that may be the beginning of the assault back on Rick and everybody else. So while I was excited about the episode and while I liked where they went, the fact that there wasn't sort of a clear ending, again, it was like the first part of a larger thing. It was like the first, right before the first commercial break, or maybe the first half of the episode, and then it ended. Okay, that left me a little disappointed. All right, couple of small things. One, another one rides the bus by Weird Al Yankovic. That was the most awesome. That's the first Weird Al song I heard way many years ago when I was a kid. Awesome. Still have many of their friends stuck in my head. So really, there was just a particular joy of hearing that in the background. And that they're having a Weird Al Day. Can't wait for that future. Little baby Judith is not baby Judith anymore. She's getting big. Carl's little traveler that he ran into. I think we have there in the discussion between Rick and Carl more about that idea of what is the world that we want to live to. There, I think, is establishing the idea of hope. Carl says to Rick, there's not enough hope right now. That's what Carl wants to do. If we are going to create this new and better world, we have to include people. And I'm really hoping this works out for Carl and is not some other bit of trickery because, Carl needs some plus in his life. I'm worried about Rick. One, he's thinking about the future. That's always danger. And the last thing he says to Carl is, "This is the end." Don't say that. It's not going to be. You don't curse yourself before you go out. There's a difference between confidence and tempting fate. Don't say stuff like that. Father Gabriel's theme to Rick is "It's not about you." Good idea. I think that would be an interesting philosophy to see Rick going forward with. But really, if you wanted to take that to heart, should have had the snipers that took out the guys on the roof above Dwight take out Negan while you were all talking, and then the day would have been done. Just saying. You don't have to do it yourself, Rick. Jesus' proclamation that the Hilltop stands with Maggie. Beautiful. Love shutting Gregory down, but also love Simon's reaction to Gregory. "I have invested in you." Yeah, Simon's not happy about any of that. All right, so that pretty much covers everything. Again, opening season premiere episode, setting the stages. We actually got a little bit of battle. We got some great giant walker hordes moving around. Always a blast. But yeah, this is just the very beginning of this day, which is going to be stretched out for some time. Hopefully, Rick and everyone have planned far enough ahead and taken in enough contingencies. We are also hoping that Dwight is on their side. It's feeling like that. But again, we haven't seen any of the other saviors. I don't know if they're inside the building getting shot at with all the glass and the walkers are coming up, or they're already out doing another plan. If we don't see them, it makes me worry. And then, of course, Father Gabriel, how long do you think he's going to last? Really? Just... let's start throwing odds out there, huh? Dead by next week, 2 more episodes. Will he be out of there? And will he need new pants? That's the bigger question. But we're going to wrap it up for today. If you did enjoy this review, please go ahead and hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, comments, you know where to put them down in the section below. All right, your views of this episode, what you think, where you're going, and let's start up the odds with Father Gabriel, and how do you think he's going to get taken out? I don't know. We'll figure that out. You can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Darren Jakes. Please be sure to subscribe. You won't miss any of these reviews. Plus, of course, we have Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, Mr. Robot, The Gifted, and we'll be wrapping up Inhumans rather shortly. So you won't miss any of that. You won't if you're a subscriber. Do that by clicking this button right here. And we'll throw up our latest 2 reviews right here, and you can check those out. All right, so that's going to be it for me. I am D, and I'm out of here. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.